There is a moment many people never speak about. It happens quietly, almost politely. You rise from the bed, place your feet on the floor, and before you take that first step, you wait, just for a second. You wait to see whether your legs will answer you with strength or with doubt. At first, it feels like nothing. A little stiffness, a small hesitation, a strange heaviness in the thighs. Then one day, the stairs seem taller than they used to. The walk to the market feels longer, the chair feels lower, and without noticing it, a person who once moved freely begins to negotiate with every simple movement of the day. If you know that feeling, then stay with me, because what I am about to share is not a miracle, and it is not something expensive hidden in a shiny jar. It is one humble food I have eaten nearly every morning, and at 89 years old, I still trust my legs enough to walk, climb, stand, and live without asking permission from fear. That food is the egg. Not because it performs magic, not because it turns back time, but because when you give aging legs what they are quietly asking for, the body often responds with more gratitude than most people ever imagine. Before I go any further, I want to ask you something, and I truly hope you will answer in the comments. As you listen to me right now, where are you sitting? Are you in the kitchen with a cup of tea? In your favorite chair near the window? Still in bed, listening before the day fully begins? And tell me this as well. What has changed most in your legs lately? Is it getting up from a chair? Climbing stairs? Standing long enough to cook? I read those comments in the evening, and they remind me that none of us walks this road alone. And if something in these words speaks to you, subscribe to Wellness Daily and leave a like on this video. I do not ask for vanity. I ask because every person who joins us is one less person facing these quiet fears in silence. If you feel comfortable, tell me your age too. There is something powerful about hearing from people who are 60, 70, 80, even 90, still looking for ways to stay steady, capable, and independent. Now let me tell you why the egg matters so much. Most people think leg weakness appears suddenly, but it does not. It builds slowly. Year by year, the muscles in the legs lose some of their size, some of their firmness, and some of their ability to answer quickly when the body needs support. This happens so gradually that many people dismiss it as normal aging and do nothing until the day fear enters the room. Fear of falling, fear of stumbling, fear of needing help to do what used to be simple. What changed my thinking was realizing that the first meal of the day is not just breakfast, it is instruction. It tells the body whether you are giving it what it needs to repair itself or whether you are asking it to continue on too little. For many years, my mornings were light in the worst possible way. Coffee, toast, maybe a biscuit, sometimes nothing substantial at all. It felt harmless because it was familiar. But familiar and helpful are not always the same thing. An egg carries something older bodies need, deeply, complete protein. That means it contains all the essential building blocks the muscles use to repair and maintain themselves. Your legs are working every single day, even when you do not think of them as working. They hold you up at the sink, they lower you onto the sofa, they lift you from the toilet, they carry you through hallways, doorways, shops, gardens, and staircases. If they are asked to do all that with too little support, they begin to thin out quietly. An egg in the morning is one small, steady way of refusing that silent loss. There is also the matter of vitamin D, which many older adults do not get enough of. People often connect it only to bones, but muscles need it too. When vitamin D is low, legs can feel weaker, slower, and less reliable. Balance may feel different. The body may not react as quickly when a foot lands awkwardly or a step is uneven. Eggs are not the only source of this vitamin, of course, but they help. And when a simple breakfast can support both muscle and movement, I pay attention. Then there is choline, another nutrient many people rarely hear about. Yet it matters because your muscles do not act alone. They need clear communication from the nerves. Every step you take depends on messages traveling properly inside the body. When that system grows sluggish, people begin to notice tiny stumbles, delayed reactions, and that unsettling sense that the legs are not answering with the same confidence as before. I am not telling you an egg restores youth. I am telling you it supports the machinery that lets your body keep doing what it still can do. I remember a woman I knew years ago. She had begun pushing herself out of every chair with both hands. At first she laughed about it. Then she stopped laughing. She told me the worst part was not the effort, it was the feeling that her body had started making decisions without consulting her. I suggested she change one thing only. Start the day with an egg. Nothing dramatic, nothing strict. Just one real food in the morning instead of sweet toast and coffee alone. Months later, she told me she still used the arms of the chair sometimes, but not always. To someone young, that might sound small. To someone aging, it can feel like getting a piece of your life back. I knew a man as well who had started avoiding the hill near his son's house because his legs trembled on the way back up. He was embarrassed to say it out loud, so he simply visited less often. That is how independence shrinks, not with one terrible event, but with one small avoidance after another. He changed almost nothing in his routine except breakfast. He began eating 2 eggs in the morning a few times each week, sometimes boiled, sometimes scrambled with a little spinach. He later told me he felt steadier, not transformed, but steadier. And steadier is often the difference between going out and staying in. This is why I want to speak plainly with you. Strong legs are not about vanity at our age. They are about freedom. The freedom to answer the door without feeling wobbly. The freedom to carry groceries from the car. The freedom to walk to the bathroom at night without gripping the wall. The freedom to get down low to greet a grandchild and know you can rise again. When the legs weaken, life becomes smaller long before a person admits it. I have never been a gym person. I have never counted calories. I have never lived by strict rules written on a refrigerator door. My life was ordinary. I walked because life required walking. I carried things because they needed carrying. I climbed stairs because they were there. But ordinary living still asks something of the body. And if the body is not nourished well, even ordinary living becomes difficult. That is why the egg became so important to me. It is simple, it is affordable, it does not demand special recipes or expensive powders. 1 or 2 eggs in the morning, prepared in a way you actually enjoy, can fit easily into real life. Boiled eggs if you like things plain. Scrambled eggs if you prefer something soft. An omelette with onions or greens if that pleases you. The point is not perfection, the point is repetition. Small care, repeated long enough, becomes visible strength. Some people fear eggs because of what they heard many years ago. I understand that fear. I grew up hearing the same warnings. But the world is full of old advice that lingers long after understanding changes. I am not here to argue with your personal medical needs. I am here to tell you that many people abandoned one of the most useful morning foods they could have eaten because they were frightened by ideas that were far too simple for a complicated body. And now I want to pause and tell you something more personal. There was a morning years ago when I nearly missed a step outside my own home. It was nothing dramatic. I caught myself in time, but the fear that shot through me stayed for days. I kept thinking about how quickly one bad moment can change a life at our age. I thought about the people who fall once and never regain the same confidence. I thought about the quiet humiliation of needing help for things you once did without thought. And I realized I did not want to keep feeding my body as if those years ahead did not matter. So I began with breakfast. Not because breakfast solves everything, but because breakfast happens every day, and what happens every day has power. I started eating eggs regularly in the morning. I paid attention to protein instead of empty comfort. I added a little gentle movement after breakfast whenever I could, even if it was only walking through the house and back to the garden. And slowly, not instantly, my legs began to feel more dependable again. That is something many people need to hear. Dependable. Not perfect, not 20 years old, not miraculous. Dependable. There is deep peace in knowing your body is more likely to support you than betray you. That peace is worth more than most people understand until they have lost it. Now, if you are wondering whether one food can truly matter that much, Let me answer carefully. An egg alone will not cure severe weakness. It will not heal an injury, erase arthritis, or replace proper care. But when leg strength is fading, partly because the body has not been receiving enough useful nourishment, then yes, a better breakfast can matter a great deal, especially when that breakfast is repeated over weeks, months, and years. There is another mistake many older people make. They try to fix everything in 1 week. They throw away half the kitchen, write strict menus, and promise themselves a brand new life by Monday morning. Most of the time that does not last. The body does not need panic. It needs patience. If you have not been eating a good breakfast, begin with 1 egg. Just 1. Do that consistently. Let your mornings learn the habit before you ask for anything more. You can pair that egg with simple things that make sense for your life. A slice of whole grain toast, some tomatoes, a little spinach, perhaps fruit on the side. But even if you start with nothing more than an egg and a glass of water, you have already done something meaningful. You have told your body, I have not given up on you. And please do not underestimate the emotional side of this. When a person reaches a certain age, especially if they live alone, breakfast can become careless. A quick coffee taken standing up, a sweet biscuit eaten without thought, a skipped meal because cooking for one feels pointless, but preparing 1 egg, sitting down and eating slowly sends a message far beyond nutrition. It says your life is still worth the effort, your body is still worth tending, your future is still worth protecting. I have seen this in people again and again. The food helps, yes, but so does the decision behind the food. The decision to stop drifting and start caring. The decision to act before a fall, not only after one. The decision to remain a participant in your own aging, rather than a passenger. If you already feel weakness in your legs, do not hear me saying it is too late. I have known people in their 80s who changed small habits and felt real differences over time. Not overnight, but over time. Better mornings, easier standing, less trembling on the stairs, more willingness to leave the house. Sometimes the first thing that returns is not even strength, it is confidence, and confidence changes how people move. I also want to remind you that food works best when it is not working alone. Water matters. A body that is poorly hydrated cramps more easily and tires faster. Sunlight matters too, because the body uses it in ways that support movement. Rest matters. Muscles repair during sleep, not while we worry about sleeping. And gentle movement matters more than many people realize. A short walk, standing up from a chair a few extra times, stretching the calves carefully, all these things tell the legs they are still needed. But even among all those habits, breakfast remains special because it is the opening sentence of the day. If you begin the morning with sugar alone, or with almost nothing at all, your body spends hours trying to manage on little. If you begin the morning with an egg, you offer substance. You offer the raw material from which steadier movement is built. Sometimes people ask me how often I eat eggs. My answer is simple. Often enough that it became part of my life, not a temporary trick. Some mornings I eat 1. Some mornings 2. Some days I choose something else entirely. The goal is not to turn food into fear. The goal is to make wise choices so regular that they stop feeling like effort. And let me tell you this clearly, because I do not want to mislead anyone. If your legs are getting weaker quickly, if pain is increasing, if numbness is appearing, or if you have medical conditions that affect what you can safely eat, then speak with your own care professional. I share lived experience, not a replacement for personal guidance. Wisdom means caring for yourself, not guessing recklessly. Still, I believe many people are not suffering only because of age. They are suffering because they accepted decline too early. They assumed weakness was unavoidable. They stopped expecting their body to respond. But the body, even in later years, often listens when we finally start giving it what it has quietly been missing. So tomorrow morning, before you reach automatically for the same thing you always eat, pause for a moment. Ask yourself whether your breakfast is helping the legs that carry you through your life, or merely filling a few minutes before noon. Ask yourself whether one egg would be a small enough change to begin today. Ask yourself whether your future independence might be shaped by decisions so ordinary that you have been overlooking them for years. Let me give you a picture of how this can look in ordinary life. You wake up, drink a glass of water, and put one egg on to boil while you wash your face or open the curtains. A few minutes later, breakfast is ready. No fuss, no recipe, no expensive ingredients. You sit down, even if you are alone, and eat with attention instead of haste. Later in the morning, you stand up from your chair and notice your body feels more supported, less empty, and prepared for the tasks ahead. That is how real change often begins, with a small morning ritual that quietly strengthens your days. And after breakfast, if your legs allow it, walk for 5 minutes. Walk to the gate and back, to the end of the hallway and back, or around the kitchen table a few times. Small actions teach the body not to surrender. They remind the muscles that they still have a purpose. Over months, those little signals add up. A stronger step, a steadier turn, less fear when getting out of bed, more trust when stepping off a curb. These are not glamorous victories, but they are precious ones. They are the kind that let a person keep living in their own rhythm, in their own home, with their own dignity intact. And if one morning you miss it, do not make a tragedy out of it. Return the next day. Consistency is kinder and stronger than perfection. The people who age well are rarely those who do everything flawlessly. They are the ones who come back, again and again, to the habits that support them for the rest of life. And now I would truly love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments your age, and whether getting up, climbing stairs, or walking long distances has become harder lately. Tell me if you already eat eggs in the morning or if you plan to start. I read every message, and your story may be the one that helps someone else feel less alone. If this message has given you hope, subscribe to Wellness Daily, like this video, and share it with someone whose legs have begun to lose the confidence they once had. Sometimes one simple reminder, given at the right moment, changes the direction of a person's next 10 years. Your legs have carried you through joy, grief, work, love, worry, long days, and ordinary mornings. They have taken you everywhere life asked you to go. Now it is your turn to support them. Not with something extravagant, not with impossible promises, just with one humble food, one steady habit, one quiet act of care, repeated often enough to matter. At 89, I can tell you this with all my heart: it is not too late to begin, and it is never too small a step to make a real difference.